Hey, hey, hey! So today we're going to talk about the speaker table. If you remember from last class, there were three main parts of it that I'm going to go through one at a time. First was how to make the speaker table appear automatically at the start of a real-time file. Next was color coding it, which is always a lot of fun, and it just looks beautiful in your transcript. And the last little bit is about the seating chart, which is a feature embedded within the speaker list or speaker table. So we're going to start off by first talking about what does it mean to have it come up automatically. Well, if you're accustomed to starting real-time files, I'm just going to go through the process and I'll show you what comes up when I start mine. I would go to Translate Notes with the real-time translation mode selected and press OK. I have to specify crack, I'm retranslating this file, whatever. But when it pops up, this is the first thing that I see. And it gives me the option here of then double clicking and inputting the name of the attorneys. And what's really great about having this automatically pop up first is that instead of everything showing up as merely plaintiff attorney, defense attorney, and those generic titles, this is just one step closer to being real-time ready. The attorneys can look over and see that their names are showing up appropriately. So to get this to start, what we'll have to do, I'm just going to back out of this, is we should open up user settings, Alt-U, to bring up the user settings. Go on over to the Translate tab, which is about in the middle, and down here, follow my cursor, we're going to click on the speaker list button. Click on that and this pops up. Now yours is going to look pretty different from mine. It's probably a column of black boxes with no colors, and then you'll just have the witness in current column and the witness in the master. So mine is already fixed up, but we're just going to go through the process as though mine were just as bare as yours. What you would do is click on the second row. These are all connected. See if I click it, highlights it. Double click and this little speaker data window pops up. Shortcut, this number refers to using shortcuts on your key, actual QWERTY keyboard, in order to, as a shortcut, make a selection when you bring it up. It's like a hyperkeys thing, so we're not going to get into that. Let's understand, what does the current field mean versus the master field? The master field is going to be the default if nothing else is put in current. And current is another way of looking at it. It's like a job. So the master is always going to be present, and I'm going to tell you what you should be putting in here so that your strokes that you put on your machine correspond correctly to what dictionary entry it's going to bring up. And then current is just specifically for that job or that file that's open. Earlier I threw in the word, I think it was like Mr. Smith or something like that, and this is where I could do that. But because we're in user settings, and you'll notice actually in the background, I should emphasize I have no file open, which is good when you're making these kinds of default settings that you want to apply all across your files. It's good not to have any files open, and so that the default is untouched. So the question is, okay, what do I put inside of the master for this first slot and the master slot for the second slot? Now you can do it in any order. The way I did it is I have the witness first, followed by plaintiff attorney, defense attorney, the court, and you could stop there, but I recently added reporter. I think it was last year or earlier this year because of an event I was doing, and I ended up having to put myself, the reporter, in. What's the reporter saying? You can do any order. Let's just imagine you want to do the same order of identifying speakers in the speaker list as myself. So don't just write exactly what you see here. What you want to put in here, assuming again you want it to be speaker, the plaintiff or whatever, is you have to have this text match what is inside of the appropriate dictionary entry. So I'm going to back out a little bit and bring up my dictionary, my main dictionary, so you can see how they match. I'm pressing F9 to bring up the dictionary. It's already selected with my name. Pressing OK. I'm pressing F to run a quick search. And in order to list all of my speakers, that could be like, the plaintiff, the defense, the court, the marshal. Just really quick shortcut. Let's just press capital S and a semicolon. I'm sorry, about a colon. And press enter, and it'll list them all here. So what I'm looking for are only, well, 4 that are relative to mine, but let's just focus on the first 2. Excuse me. Okay, for example, actually, here it is. I have plaintiff attorney here. What comes after that colon, this, has to be word for, I mean, letter by letter, capitalized the same way as what I put inside my master list. That's when I then input, that means that when I input this stroke on my writer, it can draw, okay, this is the definition, and then it can say what is inside here. It's found inside the master list, inside the speaker table, and it'll line up appropriately. So again, let's assume you're making that second entry in the speaker list, your plaintiff attorney. Whatever you have in here for your stroke for the place of attorney, put that inside of the master. In my case, it's plaintiff ATTY. I've seen other people actually have this steno outline is here. It's just like a title. It's just like an indicator. So whatever it is, make sure it's the same. Same thing can be said about my defense. I have defense ATTY. Other people have other things. So in case you go through this video and something's not working, it could possibly be that you're not having the appropriate text taken from your dictionary entry and put inside of your master file. Master speakers list inside of user settings. I'm going to back out and we can revisit the translate tab of user settings and speaker list once more. So what you would do again is you would double click in order to alter this, input the master text which would match, oh here, that's good. This, whatever you have for this stroke should be like that. You press OK for now, nothing to do. Same thing with defense attorney. Actually, I can kind of move it. Oh, I can't move it, it's all covered up. And just make sure that matches. The court, I'm not really sure what other people have done. It's usually just all caps, the space court. Actually, well, yeah, you can see it right there. And reporter, whatever. So let's say you get that down. It's important to keep this blank. Again, when you have no file open right now, we're just setting our default master list, or master speaker list here. And because it's empty, that signals, that triggers and tells Eclipse when you start a new file, like, whoa, master's already, but you just started a new file, I need to fill this with something. I need to be fulfilled. That's what will make it work. If you were to go in here and actually fill something inside of this current and this current and this current, it would have no reason to pop up because it's already occupied, it thinks already has the answer. So these would have to be blank. Some of them, something has to be blank in order for Eclipse to want to bring it up. Let's talk a little bit about coloring as well. You'll notice that I have some fun little colors here that I've chosen. I'll show you how to select that and then what that means in the grand scheme of things. Again, click on anything you want to change, and you'll notice there is actually a little tab or a little button that says color right here. You bring that up and you can see a great selection of swatches for different colors. Choose whatever you want, or even do custom defining colors. There's many options, and press OK, and that'll change the color of the box next to it. So you can go along and do that, and let's take a look at what that means in an actual real-time file. So I'm going to open one up again, just doing prac. This is what I typically use all day during practice dictation. I just retranslate it. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Mr. Smith popped up because I had opened this previously, and this actually is great. It popped up, so I can tell you that Mr. Smith was saved as part of this prac dix, as in prac dictionary, job dictionary. We can open that in a little bit to see, but whatever. Yours would probably be blank. So at this point, you would probably go in, double click, and then input the name of the attorney for the plaintiff and attorney, which is specific to this job. I'm making mine very cliche. Mr. Brown. Alright, press OK. Touch the keys a little bit, wake them up. Okay. We can have the court saying hello. I was doing an exercise with someone to get it to work, and everyone just says hi to each other. Then the plaintiff says hi. Defense says hi. The witness says hi. Everyone says hi. So you'll notice here that orange matches the color I had selected as part of my speaker list. If you need quick reference, you can press F2. Bring that up. Oh, here we can have side by side. The court is orange because I chose it to be orange. Mr. Smith's name comes up blue. Again, only as a speaker designation. If you do a major byline or a minor byline, that doesn't come into effect. It's only when it's a speaker designation with a very large indentation. And brown. And witness is orange only because that's the default setting I have under my user settings display tab. I have a whole other video already about that, so go back into my channel to review how you could change that. But there you go. How very nice. We've talked about colors, what they do, and how to set them. Now let's take a look at the seating chart. To bring up the seating chart, all you have to do is have the speaker list open. When you're in a file, again, you can just press F2, the hyperkeys. It brings it up, And here in the corner, you'll notice it says seating. If I select it, just close it out of the way, the seating chart pops up. I'm going to move him out. And this is, I mean, even Eclipse, I'm sorry, the software creators know that this is not the, least squirreliest thing they've done. But what you can do is that these boxes can signify the placement, the physical location of all these speakers relative to you in the room, the deposition room, the courtroom you're at. And what you can do is you can physically drag these around and move them where you want. Now the funny thing is that the box that's on the highest, I believe it's this one, I have to click up in the left-hand corner and it just jumped over, silly Billy. And then I can move him around wherever. Let's say I'm the reporter and I'm here. Relative to me, it's a lot easier then to move them once you initially kind of shake them out of their place. The court was sitting right about here. The defense attorney was seated here. The witness right here. Yeah, and then and then the witness is right next to the defense attorney, like so. And it's nice to have this as a quick visual reference. Let's say if you're having some trouble keeping track of where people are, maybe some people have walked around, they've moved out of their original seats. Because this is open at any time, you can then click him and, oh, court actually started to walk over this way, so he's over there. This also is really useful when it comes into, when microphones and audio channels come into play. Obviously, I do not have that equipment. I only have the student version, but I did learn that over the weekend at a convention, so that was pretty cool. That once you have the microphones set up and audio channels, the seating chart's actually really important to make sure that the channels align to different speakers. So it's good that you're getting a head start, getting familiar with the seating chart. One thing I'm going to talk about here is something you can do to almost any pop-up window in Eclipse, and that is you can change the zoom, or the size of the window, as well as the transparency. It doesn't happen with all windows, but pretty much it works this way. So long as you can right-click anywhere along this bar, or just left-click on the icon of the window, and you'll see at the very bottom of the drop-down menu says Customize. These are pretty self-explanatory. Zoom, ooh, big and small, zooms in and out. Transparency, let's take a look what that does, is the higher I go along the scale, the more see-through it gets, like a little ghost. Actually, I'm going to set it like that, and you can see then, I mean, I can have it, maybe I just don't have a lot of space here, I might have to put it up here in the corner overlapping something, but I can still see through if I needed to. Oh, I don't like that at all. I'm going to put everything reset. Okay, close enough. Anchor just means that wherever I put this, or wherever I placed it, let's say I'm happy with it is here, if I press anchor, the next time I ever call it up again, this little seating chart window, that's where it's going to be found. I know off the top of my head you can do that for, not user settings, but like the global dialog window box, the seating chart, presumably the speaker list. I haven't done it too much, but the zoom is really useful for those of you who might not have the best eyesight right now, or maybe you just want to be gentle on your eyes and make it a little bigger to see. So wow, in summation, we've already covered everything. We talked about how to bring up the speaker list automatically. That comes down to going inside of your user settings, Translate tab, speaker list button, and that's your master, essentially, your default setting. You want to fill in on the master column. Let's bring it up while I chit chat. On the master column, you're going to have all the text for whomever your speakers are, whoever they are, corresponding to the dictionary entry. Again, whatever is found after the S colon, remember, inside the syntax. Leave current blank. And when you do that, whenever you start a new real-time file, it will be blank, which is great. We also talked about using the color button that was earlier to have them appear in certain colors that you like. It makes it pop out, plus it's beautiful. And what's nice is those colors also correspond to the boxes inside of the seating chart. And the last thing we did talk about was the seating chart, which you do by pressing, making sure that this is selected when you have the speaker list open. One last thing I'm going to squeeze in before this finishes. I'm pressing F9 to take a look at our not the main dictionary, which is always the first row, the second, which is job dictionary. And in here, you will see that this is defined. I mean, this is kind of weird looking. It essentially means the defense attorney has been defined because I put their names inside of the current slot, if you recall, and this as well. If you were ever finding it was something, the same names kept coming up, it's very likely that it's been saved somewhere and you might want to delete it from here, your job dictionary, or if it's somehow gotten stuck in your main dictionary, keep your eyes peeled for that. So that is everything relating to the speaker tables. It's a great feature, and I hope it becomes so useful.